Oh, hello there. Yes, well, 'twas the weekend before Christmas, I am very, very pleased to say. Yes, that's good news, isn't it? Especially for me. Oh, it was such a relief to get to the end of my sociology lesson yesterday afternoon. I was ready to weep and cry, which is probably slightly unprofessional of me. Anyway, we might come on to that. Yes, anyway, it was good news day yesterday because Elon Musk has decided to, support yet more very, very dodgy right-wing groups in Europe. The latest one is this: only the AfD can save Germany. Yes, just like Adolf Hitler was the only one that could save Germany, presumably. Now, you might have your own thoughts on the AfD, and I'm sure a lot of you will have quite negative ones, and others will have less than negative ones. But generally speaking, they are a bunch of people who are regarded a bit too far right-wing and Nazi-like that the Front National in France don't want to have anything to do with them. No, we don't mind fascists, we just don't like Nazis. Yeah, them, still. Never mind Elon, eh? What's the point of being the richest guy in the world if you can't dictate to the rest of us? Literally, dictate to the rest of us. Anyway, there was also an intriguing thing yesterday whereby there have been various moves over the last few months, certainly, to test the notion of what we might call Gillick competency. For those of you with an actual memory, you may remember Victoria Gillick from, way back, I think, in the 1980s, certainly very last century. She was unhappy with the notion that older teenagers could have access to contraception because they're only children. And something was brought in called Gillick competency, with this idea that young people at a certain age can make up their minds, and that is kind of important. It's actually very much enshrined into British law under the 1989 Children's Act, which kind of brought in all of that whole raft of human rights stuff in and around children, and it guides very much what I do as a professional. Might come back to that notion, kiddies. Yes, yeah. So you gotta really question a parent that decides to go to court because her child, albeit a 16-year-old, has decided that they are something that the parent is unhappy with. Still, invariably, this is where we end up. You see, we end up with this kind of very, very evangelical Christian notion, maybe feeding back on that delightful Mr. Elon Musk, whereby adults inherently know better than their children, even if they're 16. Very debatable, I'm afraid. Yes, which leads us very, very neatly onto the gorgeous and pouting James S's. And I did notice yesterday that he's basically decided to go down the whole setting himself up very much as a therapist thing. So yes, he's now got his own website, which he's using it to promote people who are therapists that don't like the notion of trans, effectively. That's what it is. But the thing is about James that, he's not a therapist, you see. And I've had a good look at his website, and I can find no record whatsoever of him actually having a qualification. He is using his platform and media very much to get work for himself as a therapist, whereby he will, under his own dulcet ways, take control of your child and presumably persuade them that they're not what they think they are. I guess that's the plan, yeah? But of course, like I say, he's not qualified. And when I did a little bit more digging, I realised that actually any Tom, Dick or James can call themselves a therapist, which leads to all sorts of intriguing things. Because I was thinking, well, okay, if he's not a therapist, then what kind of legal status is it whereby he's doing this work with children? What kind of legal safeguards are there for somebody who isn't a professional? Now, I have to have bits of paper associated with my job, but I think James has just decided to call himself a therapist and presumably will take various people who he's going to do his own thing with in an untrained way. And sorry if I find that problematic. It's not just that he is gender critical, if I can use that particularly odious and soft-sounding phrase, it's because I think he's actually a very, very dangerous individual in so many other ways as well, because he is a person who's quite happy to use his media platform to try to basically change British social policy. He is somebody, after all, that sees sinister elements in everything, because anything he doesn't like is inherently, well, sinister. Isn't it? Yes. Even carol singers. Imagine carols, children sing carols. People singing carols I don't like are in fact doing it to have a go at children. Can you see the link, kiddies? Yes. I can't, but there you go. James can, because he lives in that world, and he earns $1 or 10. Yes. Still, it's going to be a good Christmas for some people. The joyful news is that Mr. Burke, yes, Enoch by name, Enoch by nature, is being let out for Christmas. Now, you may notice that letting him out today means that he can't go back to school, but what do you think he's going to do in the new year when the term starts? That's right, he's a teacher. He knows best, just like I do. Except, of course, in this case, I definitely do. Anyway, do have a glorious Saturday. Do stay warm. It's horrible, isn't it? The sun isn't bad. That was nice yesterday. But the rain, the wind, the wet cat, the scowling, nasty looks I get just from my child. Yeah, awful. And the cat. Yeah, and me whenever I'm looking out the window. That reflection thing. Anyway, do have a glorious Saturday, because, let's face it, you have probably earned it.